this idea that they're out there for the greater good of those of us who are over 50 and they're doing wonderful stuff for us. And that's BS.
Mm.
What they're doing is they're a business.
Welcome to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes, and today I am with Nick Lituanio. Nick is a content maker, content creator. He has a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel is called Nick at Make the Most. I'm going to put it up on the screen here just so you can see his channel. But I've got Nick, I asked Nick to join us today because Nick did a video that I found very interesting. And it was on a topic that I think most of you out there are also going to find interesting as well. His video is titled, Know These Things Before Joining AARP. Nick, welcome to our program today.
Well, thank you, Lou. It is good to see you again. It's been a while, but I'm happy to be here. And let's talk. Let's talk about AARP, what we used to call the American Association for Retired People, but they have rebranded themselves and they are now AARP.
Yeah, I have a hard time sometimes remembering if I call them AARP or AARP. But let me say, this is what this from your video. This one statement is actually why I reached out to you and asked you if we could get together again. And what you said here, I'm going to read this. It says, you consider AARP as an influence organization, and you said that they use my membership to make money selling my attention to the highest bidder. Could you explain that for us?
Sure. What AARP, you're not actually supposed to say ARP because I think it sounds funny. What AARP really is in the business of doing is capturing our attention. We become over 50, and all of a sudden, we kind of get bombarded with the AARP stuff. And what they're trying to do is have the largest membership possible. And, the larger their membership, the more eyeballs they have, as we say today. And those eyeballs are worth money. So that's really what they're trying to do.
You said something, too, that they, in the process of getting the eyeballs, well, a couple of things you mentioned, some numbers you mentioned in your video was that they do 1.7 million. I'm sorry, $1.7 billion a year in revenue, and that 60% of their revenue comes from insurance. So when I hear that, and then you mentioned at the end of the video that they're selling your attention to the highest bidder, do you consider that that's beneficial to the membership?
So AARP is a little bit of a strange animal. I mean, I went through stages with AARP. And the first stage was when I became of age, I looked into it and I thought, okay, this is a great organization. It does a lot of things for me. I joined. After I joined, I became absolutely bombarded with both printed materials and emails. I mean, like nothing I've ever seen before. And that got me thinking, like, okay, well, what are these guys up to? Because it's about more than helping me with, Congress. There's something going on here. And that led me to kind of digging into their annual report and learning a little bit more about the organization. And I think, as I say in the video, what it is it's a nonprofit that really reports into a for-profit company. And so they're kind of playing a shell game. And the shell game is this: the more you and I pay attention to their materials, the bigger their numbers are for advertisers, and they become more attractive. And that's really what they're doing. And their biggest moneymaker, and I believe this is where the 60% of their revenue comes from, is healthcare. You get to be 65 and then you get Medicare, and then you need supplemental insurance if you're lucky enough to be able to afford supplemental insurance. And that's, I think that's their moneymaker. Now, to be fair, because I want to be fair, they are in Washington and they are a very large lobbyist organization. And it seems like they do things, that do benefit people who are kind of in that last third of life. Their business model, like I said, is about kind of capturing our attention and then getting their hands in our pocketbook. That's what, that's what they do. And I honestly don't have a problem with that because I'm an American and I'm a capitalist, and Everyone's trying to get their hand in our pocket. The problem that I had ultimately was they just seem a little shady about the whole thing. I would be much more comfortable with it if it's like, hey, we use our membership fees. Not only do we make money, but we work on your behalf. Because look, they're doing a lot of good things. If you go on the website, you can find caregivers in your area. There are resources. There is educational material, and I think that on balance, I'm kind of neutral with them. It's not like, oh, I don't like them. I think they're shady and underhanded, or I think they're great. I just think they're kind of found a niche and they're following it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. They found a niche and they're following it. I think the thing that I looked at when I joined AARP is I found, well, first of all, I had the same result when I joined, which was I was inundated with sales material every single day, whether it was in my email or mailings I get at my home. And when you talk about being upfront with things, I felt like when I'm getting all this stuff, I thought, wow, I thought this was a benevolent organization that was really out for me. And then when I see all the sales material, I'm wondering if they really aren't out for themselves.
100%, Lou. They're out for themselves. They're providing a service that is of value, and whether that is perceived value, like we think they're doing a good job for us, or they're actually doing a good job, and they're doing that, and they're saying, hey, we're going to do that for you, and we're going to grab your attention because we're doing that. We're providing these resources, and then we're going to sell it. And when you look through the magazine, when you look on the website, when you look in the publications that you get, there are a lot of well-known companies who are trying to get a share of our wallet. It's almost this perfect machine, that AARP has created, where they have an inroad into, from a marketing standpoint, into our attention. Whether it's the emails that come into your email box, or the magazine, or the newsletters, or any of the things. And it really is kind of frightening how much stuff they sent my way. They want to get into kind of our minds so that they can get into our wallets.
Well, there's no doubt that AARP does provide a service, and in many ways they provide a good service. I suppose the thing I go back to your close on your second video that you did on Nick at Make the Most. I think what really struck me, and I'll go back to it and I'll read it again. It's AARP uses my membership to make money selling my attention to the highest bidder. And I suppose when I looked at that, what I thought of right away was, okay, 60% of the revenue comes from insurance. So are they recommending to me as a person who, is a member, are they recommending to me the best deal for me or the best deal for them? And that's really what prompted me to reach out to you, because I thought right away, well, your video was so comprehensive, so informative. And I'm thinking, well, is that really fair? I mean, even on YouTube, whenever I run an ad or a sponsorship, I have to mention that, okay, this video is sponsored by whoever. And I use a lot of Career Fitter sponsorship. Career Fitter sponsors a lot of my videos. Yep. So I mentioned that, but AARP doesn't have to mention that they are paid a fee or percentage by the insurance company. And I think that is a little underhanded. It just seems to me. Would you agree?
I look at it this way. I look at it as I watch 60 Minutes. When I used to watch 60 Minutes on broadcast television, there would be an ad for a Chevy truck. Mm-hmm. Now, did 60 Minutes tell me that, Chevy is sponsoring their program there's an ad for a Chevy truck? No, they don't tell me that. And I think it's the same thing for AARP. They're creating eyeballs. They're creating an audience. And that's their job. And to create an audience, they have to put out valuable content. And they're doing that, or they wouldn't have as many members as they have. Sure. And then they're selling, your attention, my attention, to the highest bidder. And they're absolutely doing that. But I don't think it's not ethical. What I've found unethical is they present themselves as a nonprofit. And I think you said it earlier, which is this idea that they're out there for the greater good of those of us who are over 50, and they're doing wonderful stuff for us. And that's BS. What they're doing is they're a business. They're a for-profit business. It's a nonprofit buried in a for-profit business. And they're like, no, we need to make money to keep this thing going. And people are going to get salaries. And we have people who, walk away from the table with large amounts of money. Whereas 60 Minutes, using that analogy, they're a broadcast television network and they make money by selling advertising. And it's very clear the trade-off. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch your show and I have to watch your ads. I understand that, right? Where with AARP, I do think it's a little bit shady, where it's like, yeah, we're just all about making sure that we take care of you and giving you these resources. But they don't come out and they're unique. And in their uniqueness, I think it allows them to kind of skate that issue because they don't really have a lot of competitors. And they don't have to be. My brain initially didn't even consider the fact that they were for profit and really what they were trying to do was make money.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize that. And that's, I guess, really the point of this video is, yeah, they're a nonprofit with two for-profit arms that generate revenue for them, and they're basically a for-profit business if you look at strictly at the numbers. So,
yep.
Well, Nick, I'm really glad we got together, and I'm glad that you could lend your perspective on this subject, which I think is very important to over 50 TV viewers, especially those who are at retirement age or considering becoming a member of AARP. So thanks so much for joining us.
Well, I want to let you know, Lou, I appreciate you bringing this to your viewers' attention. I think critically thinking about the way that the information that we consume and where it comes from, I think it just becomes more and more important. And as we get older, kind of, staying on the ball about this stuff and thinking it through, I find that that's one of the ways I kind of, stay kind of in the game. So good job bringing this to your viewers, and hopefully they go over to my channel and take a look at what I have going on.
Well, you do have a second channel too, you mentioned, right? That
I
you
do.
started.
I do. I started a second channel. My Make the Most channel is really focused on people our age getting the most that they can out of their lives, just kind of throwing away stereotypes and embracing this part of our life. And then I really enjoy cinematography. I'm here in California and I enjoy going to out of the way places. So I created a channel, Hidden California. It's at Hidden California.
What we're going to do on this channel is we are going to go find out-of-the-way places that you might miss if you didn't dig a little bit below the surface. The idea here is we are going to explore my home state. And what I hope to do is give you insight into the people, the places, the things that make California what it is.
I'm glad you're out there for us because I've watched your videos and they are as good as any video I've seen. So thanks again. Thank you very much. So thanks for joining us. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. You take care and goodbye to your viewers.